Hey guys, this is how I saved my Mavic Pro off the side of a mountain with my Phantom 4 Advanced. So it was just a regular day. We decided to go out to a local state park called the Causey Reservoir, and we were just hiking and taking pictures and just having fun. And we decided to fly the drone around and get some footage of the surrounding areas of the frozen lake and just, things like that. And that's pretty much when things started to take a turn after a point. So essentially what happened was that the drone was being flown over the frozen lake to get footage of the canyon and the mountains across from the reservoir. And on the way back to the home point, the drone got disconnected from the controller. And we drove closer to the last point that it was at. And when it reconnected, we saw that it was stuck in the hillside. It was facing the bridge, everything that we had, all the exact GPS coordinates. But I obviously couldn't take off because it was stuck inside the grass. And that's where the problem basically began. So the first attempt was to tie a line onto the gimbal guard clipped on upside down onto the legs of the landing gear, and then a hook on the bottom of that line to try to hook the Mavic up. But when we tried that, every time we'd pick the Mavic up, there was this nasty sway that would just swing the Phantom 4 side to side, and it was just impossible to fly, and it was extremely dangerous. So we quickly just stopped that, and I left the Mavic where it was originally placed. So after that first attempt pretty much failed awfully, it was pretty much back to the drawing board. I went home and tried to figure out what we could do, and I had no clue. I had no idea. So I sought the advice of a really awesome group of people on Facebook called the DJI Mavic Pro Owners Group, and we brainstormed and we thought of so many ideas that we could try to pick this drone up. And a common one was to pretty much make a cross of string tied to the landing gear, and then from there tie a line to a hook to center the weight and try to keep it from swaying so much. So I tried that out. I tested it with a short string, I tested it with a long string, and there was still quite a bit of sway. And then I basically ended up just tying the actual hook onto the intersection of rope itself, and that worked the best. And I tested it out with a 1.5 pound hydro flask over a field, and it worked pretty well. I mean, there was still sway, but it wasn't nearly as bad as before, and I could easily control the drone. Basically, as you can see, I tried quite a few times to get that hooked on with no success at all. It was quite frustrating. One of my biggest issues was trying to control the Phantom 4 up there with so much wind and so many other factors that was pretty much making the Phantom 4 sway around instead of getting it close enough to one of the legs. And it was just probably the most frustrating thing I've ever done. But we finally did hook it on and lifted it in the air. So this first time that we did lift it in the air, it was swaying quite a lot, and that basically what brought some level of disaster. As I picked it up and shot up into the sky, the drone, the Mavic, basically started swaying enough to a point where it unhooked itself and went smashing down onto the rocks, and the battery fell off and one of the propellers was clipped in half. But the Mavic itself was pretty unharmed. It just suffered a crack on the top of the case there, not too bad. Everything does happen for a reason, and because that fell, the legs closed in a way where they kind of made this weird triangle that made the hook really just stay in there. So after I was finally able to hook it on, I lifted the Mavic up and it finally stayed on. It wasn't as wobbly as before, but it was still quite wobbly. So I went ahead and flew that down, steadied it on the ground a little bit, and then took off and just zoomed over to where we were before anything else could happen. The descent down and returning was pretty much smooth. Nothing too bad happened. I was definitely glad to have gotten the Mavic over the mountain itself and onto the ice, because even if it did fall at that point, I could go and retrieve it. But the only really bad thing that happened was as I was stopping the Phantom 4, I guess all that forward momentum energy caught up with me as the Mavic kind of shot up and banged on the Phantom 4 gimbal a little bit, but I checked it and it seems to be all right. Nothing major. And yeah, so we got it back and we unhooked it, and we were definitely glad to have that back in our possession. Needless to say, I will be returning this Mavic back to DJI Refresh, as I am pretty dang sure that this unit has extensive water damage and structural damage and gimbal, and it just the whole thing is messed up. So we'll definitely be using that program and getting one back in the mail. And yeah, that's basically how I rescued a Mavic Pro off the side of a mountain with a Phantom 4 Advanced. So if any of y'all come across this problem and you need any advice, please reach out to me. I did quite a lot of research on this, and we have a great amount of support on the Facebook Mavic Pro group, and I can go ahead and link you to that group, as there are a lot of really brilliant minds over there that really did help me solve this problem. It was all thanks to them. Again, thanks so much for watching this video, and if you please like the video, comment, and subscribe on my channel, and I will be posting a lot more drone things.